Over the past 10 years, Giga coasters have really taken the roller coaster world by storm, but there's a catch. Nearly all of them have been installed by Cedar Fair amusement parks, and besides Knott's Berry Farm, which was meant to be getting one over the next few years, but that might now just be a hypercoaster, they've run out of large amusement parks to send these to. If any more are to be built, someone else is going to have to buy one, and in today's video I talk about 3 theme parks, 2 in the US and 1 in Europe, that I think there is a realistic chance of a Giga coaster going to, and I'll talk more about why and what I think the ride might look like for each one. Before we get into today's video, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed today's video then please leave a like, as it's a great help against the YouTube algorithm. And you can also find me on Instagram and Facebook, where I post theme park and travel pictures, my thoughts on roller coaster news, quizzes and more, and the links to those are in the description. Now then, let's get straight into the video. The first amusement park that I can see getting a Giga coaster is Busch Gardens, Tampa. Florida is growing in population, it's a hotspot for tourists from around the world every year. The SeaWorld Parks and Entertainment chain are investing big time into new roller coasters for their parks, and Busch Gardens definitely has the space. The tallest roller coaster in Florida would have huge appeal, and given that Mako is just up the road at SeaWorld, an Intimidator 305 style layout would be perfect, and maybe they could even add the world's tallest inversion on a roller coaster to it in some way, with a dive loop or just a turn that inverts on itself. This won't be the relaxing, flow to airtime kind of Giga coaster, but a very intense one, with ejector airtime and lots of crazy elements that you wouldn't normally see, and will be a larger version of rides like Conda, Thorpe Park's planned new roller coaster, and of course I-305. Given that there is currently water on the land where this coaster would be built, they could give the ride some kind of a swamp theme and add it as part of a refurb to the Congo area where Cumber is. On the topic of Cumber, it sounds like the rumours of it closing are not true, which is great as it's my favourite roller coaster at the park, but I haven't ridden Iron Gwazi yet, so that could be all about to change. A drop that's just about 300 feet in size would be absolutely fine, and the elements should then be kept lower to the ground so the pacing is fast paced and intense. Energylandia in southern Poland. Every year this park has been opening up crazy new roller coasters, with the end goal clearly to make it into one of the world's top amusement parks, and to be honest you could argue that it already is. There haven't been any other parks around the world that can say that in back-to-back years they've received a hypercoaster, a ground-up RMC, Vekoma multi-launch, Mine Train, and then next year a tilt coaster, which will only be the second one in the world after Gravity Max in Taiwan. Energylandia only opened up in 2014, and thanks in part to European Union funding, they have grown at a ridiculous scale that shows no sign of stopping anytime soon, and that's why I think Europe's first chain-lift Giga coaster will go to Energylandia, and I think that it will be made by either Vekoma or Intamin. I hope actually that it's Vekoma, as it's about time that they're given the chance to build a ride like this, since they've really upped their game in recent years. A Fury 325 style layout that has a mix of large, drawn-out airtime hills and funky turns and elements, like a giant wave turn and tunnels under the ground, and it will probably have some really cool theming as well, as they've improved on that over the past few years too, and I could see this being well over 300 feet, as that's just the kind of thing Energylandia do. Six Flags have typically been the discount amusement park chain, and the idea of them adding something even remotely close to a Giga coaster would have been unthinkable until recently, when they announced a B&M dive coaster for Six Flags Fiesta Texas, and then got a new CEO, who has announced a very different strategy for the company: premiumisation. It's what Cedar Fair, Disney, Universal and many other theme park companies do around the world, where there isn't so much of a focus on having the lowest possible prices, but the best product instead, trusting that guests will generally pay a bit more if they know that they're going to get a better service, better rides, I think you get where I'm going with this. Anyway, this means that Six Flags are now going to have to be willing to add rides to their bigger parks that they weren't willing to do before, and I could see one of the big 3 parks, Magic Mountain, Great America or Great Adventure, getting one of these. To keep to the rules of this video in picking a theme park for one to go to, I'll choose Six Flags Great America as a replacement to the American Eagle, and it could run parallel to the road outside in a classic B&M out and back style layout, with some cool theming and showing a real change in direction for Six Flags. A space theme would look great and cost very little to do, as you don't need much more than a metallic station and cool music, and this will be a very different layout to the Raging Bull Hypercoaster, which is much more focused on the turns and twister layout. Where do you think we could see a Giga coaster? Leave a comment below, as it's always really interesting to see what everyone thinks. And if you did enjoy today's video, then please leave a like, and if you want to see more like this, then please consider subscribing, but of course no pressure. Have a great day, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video next Friday.